On this episode of the Grower Plateau podcast, we have Kelly Loya out of Sarasota, Bradenton, Florida area. Within the last year, Kelly made the move to Florida full-time. With no contacts or circle of influence to rely on, she takes us through how she's growing her business right at the ground floor. All right, Kelly, thanks for hopping on the podcast with me today.
Hey, my pleasure.
That's awesome. Why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself? We'll kind of take it from there.
So I'm the territory boss, as what a lot of people know me by. That's my social media handle, and I have a website with a little blog on it. I started that about, shortly after I got into real estate. Everybody was using their name. I wanted something a little different. So my name is actually Kelly Loya, and I'm a real estate agent in New York. I'm licensed in New York and Florida.
Okay. And you've been in Florida for about a year now, right?
Almost, yeah.
Okay.
Since last June.
So you had an established business up in New York.
Right.
What was it like when you first got into the business up in New York?
So when I first got into New York, I think I hit the ground running, really. I did a lot. I didn't do any standard training with a big box brokerage or anything like that. I did a lot of research in advance. I went right to social media, and that's where I sort of made a name for myself in real estate, and how I started getting a lot of clients coming my way.
Okay. Did you do a lot of like door knocking, cold calls up in New York when you first got into it, or?
No.
No. Okay.
Nope, I never did any of that.
Did you jump right into social media or do any Zillow stuff, or what did you do to kind of get started?
Yeah, so the broker that I was with initially, he had Zillow stuff coming in. He bought Zillow leads, and he distributed those. I don't want to say evenly because I don't know if it was evenly, but he distributed those throughout the brokerage.
Okay.
So I had some of those. But I went really hard with marketing myself and branding myself and utilizing social media.
Okay. Did you do, when you first got into it in New York, did you do a lot of like video stuff, or was it more just like static images?
Initially, it was more static images.
Okay. Now, what's been like the big difference so you went from established business, right?
Uh-huh.
And you kind of almost are starting over again in a completely new area, right? So has it been the same kind of process when you first got going up in New York, or are you kind of doing things a little bit differently?
No, I'm actually doing things differently. So before I left New York, I hopped on the video bandwagon and I started doing videos and things like that. Got a YouTube channel going and reels and stuff like that. Down here, it wasn't as simple as just marketing myself. I had to completely start over my business, but also create my own sphere of influence down here. So in New York, I had a sphere of influence already, and that's who I was marketing to mostly, and their people. Down here, I'm sort of starting. So if just starting real estate in your hometown is ground level, I'm starting like below ground level here.
Right. So so you really are relying. You don't have anyone to really rely on in terms of that sphere of influence. So are you?
Right.
To build that sphere of influence, how do you go about that? Do you get into like, community events, that kind of thing? Like, how do you go about building that sphere of influence?
Yeah, just everything. I meet people all the time. I talk to people. I mean, I go to the grocery. The other day I was in the deli line at Publix. And if anybody's ever heard of Publix and pub subs, I was getting pub subs. Mm-hmm. But I started just talking to a lady about like the kind of cheese that I like there. I just, talk to everybody and give them information, whether it's real estate related or not. Like, you've got to try this cheese. It's so good that I'll sell it anywhere else. And we got chatting, and turns out she moved down here not too long ago, about a little bit longer. I moved down almost a year ago. She's like a year and a half ago. But she came from New Jersey and doesn't know a ton of people, but she wanted to connect. And so I gave her my card, and we're going to go have coffee together sometime. And it's just putting myself in that situation all the time where I'm making new friends. How can I be of value to people in the community? I'm joining different clubs and organizations, and just really putting myself out there as as far as being able to meet people
Yeah.
and get involved.
It's making people aware that you're a realtor, right?
Yeah. But not just that, because I see, to me, it's all real estate is relationships. Like I can work with anybody and sell them a house, but I want relationships with people because I wouldn't say all, but so much of my business, probably 90% or more, has been a result of my relationships with people. So what I'm doing here right now is just starting organic relationships based on other interests. And I think that when you do that, you make the right connections with the right people, and you're not just aiming to sell, and that those will last. So when I have a friend, my friend is going to think of me first, but somebody who just knows I'm a real estate agent, they meet real estate agents all the time, but like, where else have we connected, and what else have we been able to connect on,
Yeah, it's kind of like that know, like, and trust, right? Those are the people that if they know, they like you, they trust you, then they're going to work with you, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you mentioned that you got into social media up in New York, and you're continuing to do social media down in Florida. What types of like content do you kind of focus on? Is it more educational, or is it more showing off? There's so many areas in Florida, right? Like you can be in Bradenton, but like, where do you want to be in Bradenton? What neighborhood, right? There's Waterleaf. There's so many different neighborhoods. So do you kind of show off the specific neighborhoods within that little area? Like, how do you go about kind of tailoring your social media?
I do both. So I do a blog, and I try to give people good information through that. And my blog's on my website. On social media, people really seem to like anything they can engage with. People like to share their own opinions. So if I'm showing a house or highlighting a community, people can be like, wow, this is nice, and ask questions about the community. Also, utilizing humor, I think, is really good too, whenever you can post something funny about real estate, because when it comes to real estate, everybody knows something and everybody wants to talk about it and be in on it. For some reason, it's like that. It's funny.
Yep.
But I think I try to educate people, but also want them to have fun, because most people are on social media for fun.
Mm-hmm. It's like that edutainment kind of thing. It's kind of both, right?
Yeah.
Do you so have you received like a lot of like direct messages from do you use Instagram mostly, or TikTok, or?
Actually, I use Facebook mostly.
Okay.
I use Facebook, I use LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay. And have you received like messages of people just asking questions just off a video?
Yeah, even on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Well, I'll post videos. I do a lot of new construction videos because it really fascinates people, and it's beautiful, and the model homes are gorgeous. And I have people, like I had a guy reach out to me a couple days ago, like, keep up the videos. I'm moving down there soon, and I love the content. I love seeing these.
Yeah.
So it gets people excited,
Yeah. It's funny thing about TikTok, like when it first came out, it was like the really young demographic, but more and more, it's the people who are actually looking to buy houses now, late 20s, 30s, and even 40s, right?
Yeah.
People, all age groups are on TikTok now. So,
yeah.
Everybody tells you kind of marketers kind of ruin everything, but that's where the attention is really TikTok. I've had success on Instagram and TikTok mostly.
Have you?
Yeah. Have you seen an increase in business just from like Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok? And Instagram?
So right now I have an increase in, relationships with people because of the posts. But so when I originally got started, the more I posted on Facebook, the more referrals I got. Facebook was always great for me. Mm-hmm. Most of my sphere and my age group was on Facebook before any of those other things. So my colleagues, my sphere, they're all on Facebook. But I also felt like I hit a larger demographic being on Facebook, because you have some anti-TikTok people, and you have some people that do it to connect with families. So it's not really Instagram. And I still think that those are a little bit younger, a younger demographic. But like you said, it's more and more a mixed demographic. But historically for me, Facebook has been where I've got the most leads.
Yeah. So it's almost like a digital handshake kind of thing, right? How many people can you touch from just one video, right?
Yeah.
What types of like engagement do you look for? Like if you were to post like a
What
video.
do I want to get? Okay.
Yeah, like are you looking for the share, the comment? Like what exactly are you looking for?
I love the share. So the share and the comments are my favorite. Likes are, I don't know. If you're liking it, I don't know if you even really looked at it, or if it's a video, did you really watch the whole thing? When I have comments, I love that because you get the community engaging, and then you get to engage back with people and who's really paying attention. And when somebody shares, excuse me, that's always great too, because you're reaching more people and you are. So.
Right. I'm kind of the same way, right? Like you want to, the like is just kind of like, I'll like stupid stuff, but like, I don't even know what it was, or, I wasn't paying attention. Right.
Yeah.
But it's the share, especially if someone shares it like on their story or something like that on TikTok. That's really what I try and look for.
Yes. Yeah. Cause then that drives more people to your site and you get more followers and.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, did you have like a hesitancy before you started like to get on camera, right? Like for me, it was like, I don't want to get my face on there. I hate my voice. But it is what it is. This is what I sound like. So like, was there a big hesitancy, to get on like a camera and maybe talk or just put yourself out there?
No, there was no hesitancy. No, I don't like the way I look on camera and I don't like the way I sound, but it is what it is. And I don't think other people care as much as I do. Mm-hmm. Like people don't care about your voice or the way you look.
Right.
They're listening to your content.
Exactly.
And we care and get hung up on that more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And it still bothers me. I still get camera shy. I still look at pictures of myself online and I'm like, we're always our own worst critic, but what matters more, that or leveraging my business through social media?
Right. Now, do you do any like scripting or anything like that for videos?
Really.
No, you just find out.
I mean, I write down notes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'll like, okay, this is what I want to talk about, and I'll read it over and be like, okay, this is what I want to hit. But most of the time, no, I'm not good at following a script.
Yeah. It's funny. Like there's some people that like one of my friends I know, like he cannot follow script whatsoever. Right. Uh-huh. But for me, if I were to just like kind of like go off the top of my head and just talk into a camera, I find myself like looking for the words to like piece together, and it makes no sense whatsoever. So it's like you're either all for the teleprompter or you're all for just like kind of like freestyling.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to see like how different it is.
I get that. I don't know how people do a teleprompter, and I know that there's like this app that does the words across the screen and nobody else can see it but you.
Yeah.
It's an app, right?
Yeah, it's an app. I actually have it. Let me see what it's called here. It's called.
I've never used it.
I actually think it's called teleprompter.
Teleprompter. Okay.
Yes, it looks like. Oh shoot, I did have it. Yeah, here it is. Teleprompter. I don't know if you can see that. It's that orange. That one right there. So when you click it, it actually looks. It's gonna download. But anyways, it forces you to like. It puts the script like right here. So it forces you to look into the camera. Where like if you like were to look at the middle of the screen, your eyes can tell you're looking at the middle of the screen. So it's a really cool app. It's free too, but it's
try it.
Yeah, it's a cool app. I've used it when I first got started. This is kind of there you go. It looks like that. So you can kind of see how things scroll down.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it looks just
really
like,
cool.
Yeah. So I use that when I
feel like I might focus on the words and getting the words right more than getting the subject matter across.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know, but it's definitely worth a try.
Yeah. Like what I usually do is like, I'll think of something like a topic and I'll pull up my notes app, and then just dictate it into Siri. So it was actually me talking into it, and then I'll just copy and paste that into teleprompter. So I just read what I just said.
That's a good idea.
That's kind of what I do. And it cuts down on the like editing because I don't know how to edit whatsoever. And I got really tired of getting to like the very end of like a video, like a script thing, and like messing up and be like, oh, shit, I got to go back to like redo this whole thing again, you know? So, but do you use, or like, do you try and time block your time, right? Like, do you try and do like content on a specific day?
I do usually do my blogs on Monday, and that's really the only thing that I keep track of and do. The other stuff, I do it as it comes. Or like I'll take a video of stuff during the day, or I'll make notes during the day of what might be interesting for me. And then I do it when I have sort of a slower time of the day, because my days are sort of time blocked. I don't time block just for that. And I post fairly frequently. That's something I could get better at, actually.
Sure.
Being more disciplined with, a schedule. Yeah.
The time blocking is so hard for me. I try and do it. And life happens, like 2 kids at home, and like, it's so easy, just like, this can just get put off to the side. But in reality, it's like super important. So actually, let's go off of that. Like, take me through your week, right? Do you like spend a certain time, like, networking? Like what's like your kind of like day in the life look like?
Yeah. So, I get up, the first thing I do in the morning is I get up and I go to the gym, and I come home and help get my daughter ready for school, and I bring her to school every day. And when I come home, I usually make some phone calls. I'll check my email then and, reply to anything that's really important. I try to set up networking for 2 days a week. So depending on what my week looks like and what my other appointments are, that varies. So I do always network, though. I'm always meeting people. So, it might be a Tuesday and a Friday that I'm out at networking meetings. And it could be, a Monday and a Wednesday. Well, it's usually not a Monday. I don't do as much of it on Mondays. I try to keep Mondays at home to sort of get ready for the week and put out any fires that may happen over the weekend, kind of a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do you do, like any, I can't remember if I asked you this or not, like any content calendars or anything like that too? To like mix it with your time blocking? Okay.
No, I don't do content calendars.
Okay. I don't either. I kind of just like find topics and kind of run with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And whatever's relevant, we'll bring it up.
Right. I find inspiration everywhere, every single day. So whether it's the news, whether it's questions people are asking me. So as I find it, I text message myself things to remember. So I'm always texting myself.
I do the same thing. Yeah. So I have this whole like list of just like topic ideas and whatnot.
Yep.
Are there any like social media accounts you try and like follow or use as inspiration?
Off the top of my head, for real estate?
Yeah.
No, just, my brokerage account, Living Vogue. There are some real estate agent friends of mine that I follow. I don't try to like emulate anyone else's material though, because I like it to be original. My brain is like always like going in so many directions, and I'm like, oh, here's this. I don't really need that inspiration from people. Yep. If that makes sense. I'm always open to ideas though. Like I'm an in-person mastermind kind of ideas person. So, but I have some accounts that I follow for like fitness motivation and stuff like that.
Okay. So do you try and mix in like other interests with your content, right? So you're interested into like fitness and real estate, obviously, right? Do you try and mix in fitness stuff with on your like real estate account on TikTok or whatever?
I used to when I first started, but I do that less. So on my regular personal Facebook page, I consider that sort of marketing too, because I probably wouldn't have social media if I wasn't a business owner, right? Right. So I don't really love to spend time on it.
Yeah. We were talking about that when we grabbed coffee last week, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I share whatever it is that I'm passionate about there. And I feel like that hits my sphere the most, my personal page. But when it comes to my Instagram, I try to keep it a little cohesive. So like the Florida lifestyle or listings or solds or education content, stuff like that. Okay. LinkedIn, I share more news type stuff. Yeah. But it's always like, so anything that's about, hold on, can I look it up real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to pull up my Instagram, and I don't know if you can see that. Yep. Okay. So there's all stuff about real estate, like an under contract, educational things, but I will post like inspirational type of quotes and stuff like that, stuff that hits with me. I do businesses too. So you know how people talk, you asked about door knocking.
Yeah.
And I think we touched on this too. So I don't like door knocking. I know a ton of people swear by it, and I wish that I could get into it, but I don't want people coming to bother me during the day when I'm home, and I don't want to bother other people.
Right.
So I business knock instead. I go meet people that own businesses, and I go into local businesses, and I introduce myself, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I've got a pretty good social media following. Can I take some video of your business and post about it online? And so I do that. And so you'll find some businesses on my Instagram, some videos and stuff like that.
That's a great idea. So like, I mean, who's going to say no to that? Because they're getting free content out of it.
Right.
Right.
And then I get to meet more people in my community.
Yeah.
We have employees and friends just like our neighbors do, you know?
Absolutely. Do you do like a business, try and do like a business, like, I don't know, showcase like once a week or kind of thing? Or is like a series you're trying to planning on? Or
yeah, no, there's no series. Like it's really sporadic. It's like, you know what? I really like this place. They're super busy now. When they're less busy, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some video or maybe right now. Like the other day we had a restaurant open in Parrish, Florida here, the Grayson, and it's been long anticipated because we don't have a lot of good places to eat around here. So I made it to the grand opening and I did a video. I used TikTok and I did that. And, you know, to help them and also help people that live in our community and people that want to move to the community so they can see what we have to offer.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Because like, you know, I'm sure like all these different places, they get cold called by other reps too. So they're more or less used to it, but at least you're providing some like free value, right? They don't have to buy something from you, but you give them a free value, and it positions you as kind of a resource, which, you know, I think it sounds like you're trying to position yourself as a resource, kind of an authority in that area.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I always want to be. So yesterday, for instance, I met with a local attorney, and he's not a real estate attorney. He does He does insurance claims, car accidents, and criminal law. Okay. But he is somebody who is in our community. And so when we have people moving here, I want to be that resource, even not real estate related, you know, like I usually befriend my clients and the people here. So, hey, if I can help you in any way, I know this person who I think is really qualified and can help you.
Yeah.
So even meeting people that are totally not real estate related.
Right. It all goes back to building that sphere of influence that you kind of talked about in the very beginning, right? Like, because you don't have one that you can really rely on down there right now, at least, you kind of have to build it. Yeah.
And, you know, that person doesn't need to buy or sell a home, but I have a new friend. Exactly. And there may become a time where he has someone that does, right? So you'll be top of mind at that time. Yeah, exactly. Right. So what's like the biggest challenge you're kind of facing down there in a whole new market? The biggest challenge is just starting from the ground up and rebuilding my sphere. So that's what is standing in the way of my business climbing to the success that it was before in New York. But I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as, you know, is the framework. And, you know, I love doing it. I love meeting people and talking to people. But let me rephrase that. The biggest challenge is that I don't know a ton of people. I didn't grow up here. And, you know, I'm starting from the beginning. That's the challenge. But it's just starting somewhere else now. Yeah. And you kind of already have the playbook on how to do it, right? You know, you did it in New York, more or less, right? So you're just adding another step by creating that sphere of influence that you can kind of go back to. Right. So what's like your biggest, I guess your ultimate goal for this year? Are you trying to grow both in New York and Florida, or is your focus Florida right now? Yeah, right now my focus is Florida. I had a team in New York, and before I came to Florida, I envisioned that team to continue growing. But as soon as my presence wasn't there, it fizzled out pretty quickly, faster than I anticipated. So it took a little while to get licensed down here. I didn't actually get my broker's license until this past January. So I've only had it for a few months. But yeah, my focus is to just grow this business. And I'm writing a couple books too. That's one of my biggest business focuses, and I want to really take the time and dedicate to finishing one. I have like 4 books started that I've been writing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Are they like what kind of books are they?
One is sort of an inspirational book.
Okay.
And then another one is a 2-part series about a personal traumatic event in my life. And so there's like the traumatic part of it and then the life after it.
Sure.
Kind of a thing. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's one of them. Yeah. And then the other one is a book on grit.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's this account I follow. She's in. Do you follow? Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Jamie. It's Girls with Grit is the account I think on Instagram.
What is it?
Girls with Grit, I think it's called. It's on.
No.
It's on Instagram. They're out of Raleigh. Let me pull it up here. And I know that because my friend lives in Raleigh.
Uh-huh.
And when I was there, I was just kind of looking through Instagram. And she popped up on my Instagram here. Yeah, Jamie Tulak, Girls with Grit Collective on Instagram. Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out.
Right. It looks like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe just a contact or, somebody you can talk to, but she's, I think they're all in Raleigh for the most part. Yeah. Holly Springs. So right.
Okay, cool. That's a nice area too.
Oh, I love it there. Yeah. It's growing too. Just like Florida. It's kind of like neighborhoods, development, all everywhere, really.
Yeah. Yeah, Florida's a whole different animal than New York for sure.
It really is. Like I remember my in-laws lived down in Bradenton, but my wife's aunt lives in Lakewood Ranch and Lakewood National. And was it 3-4 years ago? I remember driving to there and it was all just literally flat. Like it's just completely flat. You can see there was dirt as everywhere. It was a mess. And now it's all houses. It's amazing how fast it grew down there, which is a huge opportunity for anybody in real estate and who's in real estate willing to kind of put themselves out there.
Yeah, it's incredible. Were you able to visit Parrish at all? It's just north of Lakewood Ranch.
I haven't, no.
Okay, that's where I live.
Yeah.
And this is really booming. They're building a lot here. It's supposedly the next Lakewood Ranch. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's a really good area.
Yeah, so that's just on the other side of the Manatee River, right?
Yep, north of the river.
Okay. There's an outlet mall there, right?
Ellington Outlet, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah, I bought some stuff there.
Anything is better with palm trees, even outlet malls.
100%. I agree. It's been raining here. It's gloomy. It has been since I got back on Friday night. So, and I think again, going back to that opportunity, right? Like people are moving from Midwest, Northeast, right, to the area because there's no state income tax. There's just a better quality of life down there that people see, right? So it's a huge opportunity for agents that, again, are willing to put themselves out there and meet new people.
Yeah, absolutely. And more people from New York are getting licensed down here too.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Everyone wants to live the dream.
Yeah. And that was a big reason, obviously, my parents and my in-laws being down there, I was like, oh, well, we have an office in Clearwater, so it makes sense for me to, get licensed down there. So that's what kind of gave me the kick in the ass to do it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But one thing I didn't touch on, we've kind of been talking about like new clients, new business. Do you do anything with past clients? Mm-hmm. Do you do a lot of like do you use a CRM, or how do you kind of reach out to them, stay in front of?
Yep, I have a CRM. I actually have 2 because I'm still an affiliate with a mortgage in New York. I'm in a referral group with My Town Realty.
Yep.
And down here with Living Vogue, I use Boomtown and I use Chime. And so my New York people are in Boomtown and my Florida people are in Chime.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty similar and user friendly. But yeah, I touch base with them. I don't do the same things over and over with every single one. A lot of them I have established relationships with and they have become my friends.
Okay.
So how I reach out and touch back on them is different than how I do with people that I just sold a house to, But I will send them CRMs and market snapshots and market reports. so that I'm offering them something of value and staying at top of mind for them.
Yep.
So I usually do that quarterly, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Sometimes I'll send gifts or just cards, handwritten cards saying like, "Hi, how are you?" Or sometimes I just pick up the phone and ask how their life is going, things like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I think picking up the phone is like a big hesitancy for some, because it's like, what do I talk to them about? Well, what do you talk to your friends about? You know what I mean? Like, you just say, hey, check in, how's it going? Like, just kind of shoot the shit with them for 5 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's a big
life.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a big thing for me, right? Like, it was always weird for me to be like, well, I kind of only know these people through, texting, phone calls, and maybe sometimes a Zoom. So there's no like one-on-one, right? Like, a lot of our stuff especially since COVID, is virtually.
Right.
You guys are actually right in front of them, right? So you kind of have a little more of a connection. So it was always kind of tough for me to be like, well, what do I talk to them about? But as you get more comfortable, you kind of just like, how's life? How's it going? What's new with your family? That kind of thing.
Yeah. I think you have to like take each person into consideration too, because everybody's different. So if I have a client that's older, I'm absolutely going to pick up the phone and call them. Mm-hmm. If I have somebody who's young and really busy, I know their primary form of communication is text messaging. So I'll text them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely communicate how the client wants to be communicated.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Sure.
Definitely. Well, I want to be conscious of your time, because I know you have a little meeting here, I think, coming up, right? So
thanks for remembering.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are 3 questions that I ask everybody on the podcast, right? So the first one, what's one book or podcast you think everyone looking to grow their business in real estate should either read or listen to?
Can I give you a book and a podcast?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Okay, so the book is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Okay.
And that book right there has had the biggest impact on my life. Like, I just sort of up-leveled in all areas of my life when I started reading that, confidence and everything. And then the podcast is Real AF.
I've listened to a couple of those episodes.
What'd you think?
I like it. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a personality thing with that one. Yeah. He even says it. I'm not for everyone.
Yeah, he like comes right out. He's very upfront and honest about, transparent.
Yeah, but he talks a lot about, if you listen to a lot of the episodes, he talks a lot about business and growing businesses and everything. He's been very successful.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right, what should everyone who is a real estate agent either stop doing or start doing?
Okay. They should stop using over photoshopped pictures of homes.
Yeah.
That look like when I pop open a listing and the pictures look like cartoons, like my son's video games look more realistic than some of these photos. Okay?
Yeah.
Stop doing that. And then something I've been dealing with a lot lately, stop not returning phone calls. I have so many agents that will never return my calls, and then they'll shoot me a text message. But sometimes the message you want to get through is too difficult to put into a text. Mm-hmm. And so phone call is more appropriate. And when you're dealing with another professional, like a professional to professional, pick up the phone,
Yep. Yeah, sometimes like the situation warrants a phone call.
Oh, yeah.
All right, last one. Where can everybody find you online?
Kelly.livingvogue.com and Kelly@livingvogue.com. You can find me on social at The Territory Boss.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for popping on. This was great information. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, have a good one.
You too.
Thanks.